what he gives us, what he promises us, it was never about what we deserve. It's always been about how much he loves us. You might say, then what about our consequences? But that also isn't about punishment. Jesus took the punishment on himself for us. So then why? Well, it's simple. He loves us enough to discipline us so that we might learn and live better as a result. Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline will drive it far away. Proverbs 22:15. Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline will drive it far away. I once had an experience in my life where I had felt a flooding type of emotional pain. And then, a few days after crying out to God, praising him through it all, he took it away. And that was shocking because that's not necessarily what usually happens. Pain can teach us. So I was wondering, well, why did he do it just like that? And I asked him, and he showed me something. Certain people, if you take away pain too early, they won't learn. But he knew my future if he took my pain away. He knew how I would change for the better. I'd draw closer to him, and I did. And he told me, I took away your pain because it had fulfilled its purpose. It's not about trying to hurt us with the rod. He's using it to drive out our folly so that it may not lead us to destruction. So what about those promises he gives us? I know a big one is the promise of a life partner. We can find ourselves waiting years for that, feeling pain because we don't have it yet. So why? It's easy to feel that we are ready to love someone because we want to, but how complete and perfect is that love? Yes, perfect. And I'm not saying we need to be perfect, that's not in our capability. But as followers of Christ, Jesus dwells in our heart, and everything we do flows from our hearts. Proverbs 4:23. So it should flow from Jesus. Our love should flow from Jesus, who is perfect, who is God, who is love, true, complete, and perfect love. We as people make mistakes, but when we love from Jesus, even through our mistakes, our love can be perfect. So how do we love fully from Jesus? Well, it goes down to your heart. How much of your heart is Jesus? One way to measure this is to look at what comes out of your heart and through your mouth. Matthew 15:17 through 18. Don't you see that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach and then out the body? But the things that come out of a person's mouth come from the heart, and these defile them. How many things do we allow ourselves to say that Jesus would not approve of? It's easy for us to let it slide. It's not like we're drinking or doing drugs, but that's not how Jesus saw it. How can you expect to love someone with godly love if your heart is corrupt with cursing and mockery and dirty jokes? How can you be a faithful partner if you are committing adultery to God? That's right, adultery to the sovereign Lord. Jeremiah 3:19-20. I thought you would call me Father and not turn away from following me. But like a woman unfaithful to her husband, so you, Israel, have been unfaithful to me, declares the Lord. You might say, but these people were worshiping other gods. I'm doing something nowhere near as bad. Okay, but who do you think you are serving when you, a representative of Christ's glorious work, defile your words and therefore your heart, which is a holy dwelling place meant for Jesus? You come to this place in prayer to talk to him. Meanwhile, when you leave, you go out and spread filth with your words. Jeremiah 7:10-11. And then, come and stand before me in this house, which bears my name, and say, we are safe to do all these detestable things? Has this house, which bears my name, become a den of robbers to you? But I have been watching, declares the Lord. Don't you know that he sees all? It's one thing to slip up once in a while. Breaking bad habits doesn't happen overnight. But are you trying to break this bad habit? When you hear his voice saying don't before you speak, do you listen? Or have you brushed that voice off so many times that you no longer hear it? If this is where you are, don't be afraid. Now you can choose to do better. And how happy God would be if you did. And he'll help you too. Talk to Jesus. Bring these bad habits to him. Ask him to help you have triumph over it. Open his word and listen for his direction. Having triumph over sin isn't about how we will do it. It's about surrendering it to Him and then focusing on getting closer to Him. He will take care of the bad habit itself. Just make sure you listen when you hear that still small voice guiding you closer to Him and away from your sin. When you find yourself growing weary and waiting for His promises, reflect. Is there anything I'm doing to cause Him to make me wait? The book of 1 John talks about how to love now that you are born of Christ. So I recommend reading it if your love needs a little perfecting. So finally, don't be idle in this time of preparation. Rather, come closer to Jesus and allow Him to clean up even the smallest dark corners of your heart.